Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Israelite Advanced Bible Study Night, 28th of January, 2025. Okay, the topic inside the class today is three types of giants, and then I'm those three types and breaking it down. Well, it's a lot of information that's that be delivered, and a lot of dots being connected with breaking these three types of giants down and the understanding of it. Okay, go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos on this channel that you can look at, examine, get the meat out of it. Okay, our operation that we live on this channel is Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights is 7 to 9 Central Time, and then Friday nights we have our men's advanced Bible study. That's 7 to 9 Central Time. Then we have two Shabbat classes, 1 in the morning on Saturday, 10 to 12 a.m. Central Time. Then we close out the Shabbat in the evening on the Shabbat from 6 to 7 Central Time. Then we have a Sunday advanced Bible study. It starts at 5. Normally lasts about an hour, maybe an hour and a half on Sundays. It starts at 5 Central Time. Okay. So with that being said, for those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah, Tanakh being the Old Testament, the so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses, our Redeemer and our Savior, the Lord of hosts. Okay, shalom and welcome to the channel. Welcome to our Israelite Advanced Bible Study. Okay, we're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, we'll read the Psalms, then we have some current events, need to know information, then we open it up for some Q&A, then we go into our topic, which is three types of giants, and the breakdown on that. Okay, I pray unto the Lord my God, we make our confessions, O Lord, the great and dreadful God, keeping covenant and mercy to them that love thee and to them that keep thy commandments. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us a confusion of faith as it is this day, to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem and in all Israel that are near and that are far off, and through all the countries whither thou hast driven us because of our trespass, and we have trespassed against thee. Okay. O Lord, we hear this prayer and cause our faith to shine upon thy sanctuary and our people for your sake. O Lord, open our eyes and incline our ears to hear and to behold our condition. O Lord, forgive, hearken, and do, and defer not for thy own sake. For your people need you so very much at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay. So with that being said, we're going to go into these current events, and then we'll break them down and get some more. Okay.
Donald Trump is deporting undocumented immigrants, left, right, and center, and he's quite proud of it. This was a major promise during his election campaign, and he's quite happy to fulfill it.
We're tracking down the illegal alien criminals, we're detaining them, and we're throwing them the hell out of our country. We have no apologies, and we're moving forward very fast. They're very dangerous people.
Raids are taking place all over the United States. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, is picking up undocumented immigrants. They have arrested people in all corners of the United States, from Maryland to Georgia, from Colorado to sanctuary cities like Chicago. They even had raids in Puerto Rico, which is not even a state. It's an island in the Caribbean, a de facto U.S. colony, but U.S. authorities conducted raids there as well. Hundreds of people are being arrested every day. More than 950 were arrested on Sunday alone. These were undocumented immigrants. After arrest, they have to get processed, and then they'll be put on a flight and deported, sent back to the country of their country of origin. The U.S. military has been called in to help. They are assisting with the deportations. Undocumented immigrants are being loaded up on military transport aircraft and flown to their country of origin, or at least one country so far, which is Guatemala. Guatemala is a nation in Central America. It is home to about 18 million people and it shares a border with Mexico. Guatemala is welcoming the US military planes carrying back undocumented migrants from the country. Their vice president, Karen Herrera, was at the airport herself. She greeted the first batch of deported migrants in person. This was on Friday. The US sent 3 military planes then. They sent another one yesterday. So that's 4 round trips for the C-17 Globemaster III. This is a large military transport plane capable of transporting about 200 people in one go. The US Department of Defense shared some footage yesterday of the first deportation flights to Guatemala being loaded up. The migrants can be seen in chains, handcuffed, feet tied up, chains around their torsos as well. It seems that they're being treated like hardened criminals. President Trump did say that they were dangerous, but some of the visuals do seem odd. There are clearly some children there among the migrants. Was it really necessary to parade them around in chains? It seems excessive. When the migrants arrived in Guatemala, some of them remained in handcuffs. These were the criminals facing charges in their home country, but most were set free. They were given temporary IDs and welcomed with open arms. So clearly, most of them were not dangerous criminals, but they still immigrated to the US illegally, so Trump has no qualms about kicking them out. And that is the reality facing everyone in the US illegally right now. Criminal or not, they're all set to be deported, and President Trump won't be taking no for an answer.
And as you saw yesterday, we've made it clear to every country that they will be taking back our people that we're sending out, the criminals, the illegal aliens coming from their countries. We're taking them back, and they're going to take them back fast. And if they don't, they'll pay a very high economic price, and we're going to immediately install massive tariffs.
Trump was talking down with Colombia. We told you about this yesterday. Colombia refused to accept US military deportation planes, so Trump threatened them with tariffs. Eventually, Colombia backed down. Colombia still won't take US military planes. It is sending its own aircraft instead. It says it wants to bring back its citizens with quote-unquote dignity. Similar objections have been raised by Brazil and Mexico. They're also opposed to US military deportation flights and the poor treatment given to their citizens. Brazil has in fact summoned the US envoy in their country to explain the reports of mistreatment. The protest, however, seems to be about the optics, not the deportation itself. Both countries are still taking back migrants, just via civilian flights instead. Mexico is taking back migrants at the border as well. So far, about 4,000 people have been deported to Mexico, and this number is expected to keep increasing. Sunday's standoff with Colombia was a message. Trump will use all means at his disposal to deport migrants, even if it hurts the economy of the United States and destroys bilateral relations. Donald Trump just wants to kick migrants out. Most countries understand this now, even rivals like China. Yesterday, Beijing said it was willing to take back illegal migrants. It said it was, and I'm quoting, willing to repatriate confirmed Chinese nationals. The US Department of Homeland Security has faced resistance in the past, but yesterday's message would signal better cooperation. All of this points to one thing. Trump's mass deportation plan is well and truly underway.
Okay, any comments on that?
Shalom. I saw the parts of that on television, how she said they had them chained up and there were children out there as well. Shalom.
Okay.
Shalom. Being that Donald Trump was saying this from his last term and into going into his term now, and if you say it enough, you can believe it enough, because when you fact check all these illegal criminals he's considered saying that they are, most of them aren't. He just pulling a lot and getting them to be deported, and it shows like, oh, all these criminals were in the U.S. and he's taking them all out. Those are not all criminals. I cannot pronounce the land security officer name, but it's Kubrin, and he was saying that if we fact check a lot of things, it is not true what is going on. He's just doing it. You know, he's getting these people to do so. All those immigrants that's being deported now are not all criminals, and he's using all kinds of words to describe these people, which is not true. So again, if you put it out there enough and you say it enough, you'll have everyone believing what they are, but not all of them are.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Okay, another one right here.
All over the United States are officially in panic mode because President Trump has now officially restricted and paused all federal funding. Now, I'm going to break this down, explain what is going on, how this is going to impact people on Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, food stamps, people that have grants to go to college, and so much more. Right now, there's a lot of talk that this could actually halt all production, all movement forward for the American people. So I'm going to break this down in just a moment, explain what is going on, and we're going to listen to the White House give their actual statement on this. So I'm gonna break this down in just a moment, but all I ask is one thing. Takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So here we go. The Trump administration orders federal funding freeze on all public loans, grants, and more aid. This means certain aid to other countries is going to stop. Certain aid to cities, to counties, and to states is going to be paused as well. But what does this mean for Social Security, for food stamps, for Medicaid? What does this mean? Do people on Social Security still get their money? Do people that are waiting for a Pell Grant still get it so that they can actually go to college? Well, let's listen, because the White House actually answered this just today. Listen to this.
This is not a blanket pause on federal assistance and grant programs from the Trump administration. Individual assistance, that includes, I'm not naming everything that's included, but just to give you a few examples, Social Security benefits, Medicare benefits, food stamps, welfare benefits, assistance that is going directly to individuals will not be impacted by this pause.
So that's actually pretty big, okay? All welfare, any money that's going to individuals specifically will not be paused. That's actually really good news. And as he was digging into what was going on under the previous administration, they started to realize and reveal the true issues. The problem is he didn't, in the Trump administration, didn't get all the information until he was inaugurated on January 20th. Again, that was just 8 days ago. In the past 8 days, many things have happened. I want to keep reading this though. It says, does Trump's grant freeze impact student loans? It says federal Pell Grants and direct loans are not impacted. It says the OMB told reporters, citing the provisions in the order stating that financial assistance to individuals is exempt. So that's good news there. Again, keep in mind, Social Security, Medicare, food stamps, and all welfare is also exempt. You will still get your payments. Goes on to say, will Medicaid be impacted? This is a big one. The White House said in its guidance issued publicly on Tuesday that Medicaid will continue without pause. However, Medicaid portals are down in all 50 states. Yeah. Earlier today, we saw Medicare.
Newton's first law of motion.
Okay, any comments on that?
Shalom, Brother Leonard. It sounds like well, we know they was dealing with population control too with the whole 19 thing that was going on, COVID thing going on. This kind of sound like that too, just targeting the older population. Cause that affects them. I know even like Medicaid takes care of a lot of people in nursing homes and things like that. I mean, if Medicaid can't pay for the people in nursing homes, I mean, that cause a huge ruckus. Just those people.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if anybody been paying attention to that, but they got federal judges that came up against that right there, this freeze, and you got federal judges that came up against a lot of things they're doing with ICE, and then you got federal judges coming up against us. Another one they was doing that. A lot of these judges coming up against it. They you know, cyborging. So he got a flack out of this too. He's like I said with those illegal aliens, uh, he's getting people out here, but at the same time, there's a lot of backlash from it. A lot of these executive orders he passing, he getting resistance. Okay, anybody else got anything on that?
Shalom. It's something like when President Nixon was in office, he did an impoundment to an extreme to cancel billions of dollars in spending. But Congress had passed a impoundment control act, which says the president can only impoundment power by submitting a request to Congress about the funds that they don't want to disperse. Lawmakers then have to approve those requests within 45 days. Otherwise, the funds are released. So it's a scare tactic, I say, because even if he's thinking about doing the Medicaid, that puts a lot of businesses out, those private doctors out of business, uh, the hospitals. I mean, that Medicaid helps pay a lot of bills with these doctors. And for them to lose their patients, that means they're losing money. And they're not going to go for it. Even with the SNAP, the food stamps, those grocery stores will lose a lot of money. So
Okay,
there's still, everyone's, it's not going to be for it. But I think it's just something that he feels that he can say to do a scare tactic to these people out there. Because,
right.
yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody else?
Oh, shalom, brother Leonard. Another thought to add on even what Sister Cheryl was saying. I I feel like people ain't gonna go for it, but I also feel like this is inevitable. Like we know America's going down, so every clip we watch, I feel like it's just foreshadowing what's to come. Cause we know it's going down. You know, remember all the clips in 2023 and 2024, all the department stores closing, and a lot of them closing, a lot of them still open and stuff like that, but they are closing. A lot of banks are closing. Like
Right,
this is gonna happen, like in in my opinion.
right. And all he doing with his action that he taking, he just speeding everything up because it's a worldwide resistance against America, and then he doubling that resistance because it's a hatred and a resentment for him. So he's just doubling it. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yes, sir. Cause them tariffs and all of that, we forgetting that all the other countries they already set up to move on
Right.
without America anyway. So they like go ahead, keep on egging us on so we can go ahead and just do our own thing and not care about y'all.
Right. And then like those African countries, not or Nigeria and a couple other countries, they turning around putting tariffs on them because
Oh wow.
they got a bunch of stuff Africa got a bunch of stuff they need, so they turn around on them, and that's what all the like I was listening to this morning, or what the guy was saying that uh BRICS alone after they just got Indonesia, it's like 60% of the world's population, right? America ain't number 4%. So you said you weigh that GDP against Americans. So when all them people start putting their tariffs on America, what America getting from them, that's what he just started. And they can't win because they not the like the guy said, they in delusional thinking that they still the number one community or economic bloc when they ain't. They ain't the #1 economic bloc no more. But they operating as if they are.
Yes, sir. They still market themselves that way, and they still acting like they got that power behind them. But they like the bully in the school that somebody seen get whooped. Now ain't nobody scared of them no more.
Exactly. Like there's some.
Yes, sir.
So we got some need to know information. See if I can get some feedback on this. Okay.
Download the African Diaspora News app today.
Peace, family. My name is Vicky Diller for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Family, be sure to share the broadcast. Give us a big thumbs up. That way it will make it more likely that other people are notified that we're here. Thank you so very much, family. I won't be before you long, but I will be strong. How many of you all got a chance to see my coverage last week? I want to say last Wednesday, about the goings on of the ICE raids, specifically in Chicago. Of course, we have been consistent. I know for sure that I have met some of my Black Chicago family when I went to Chicago some months ago during the DNC, the week of the DNC. I was there to meet some of you Black activists on the ground, giving the leadership there that everlasting word, beloved. I did a Black town hall there in one of the Black restaurants, and it was so important for me to meet and see some of you. Why is that important? That's important is because you, foundational Black Americans, are the ones that have, for the past several years, very intensely have been giving the United States, the government, specifically the Democrat Party, strong pushback about anti-Black pro-immigration policies. Of course, we are the most loving, sweetest, kindest people in the world. So foundational Black Americans are uncheckable. Somebody say uncheckable. We say we're uncheckable, beloved, because nobody has gone through what we have gone through longer than we've gone through it. So nobody is in any position to tell us what to do or how to feel, since we are the ones that created these United States of America, and inventions and creations and technological advancements that the whole world benefits from. Yes, that's very important. Well, those of you that were in Chicago, you all were not only protesting against some of the anti-Black pro-immigration policies that Brandon Johnson, your current Democrat mayor, and some of the Democrat legislators there in particular, but some of y'all end up taking them to court. You foundational Black Americans, they got so upset with you because it was you that was responsible for preventing them from opening up one of the buildings that was there, one of the historic buildings there to use for illegal immigrants. It was you that gave the Democrat Party and their agenda such pushback so that they couldn't use, I believe it's one of your parks there, in order to put up residential erections of some sort to house these illegals. It was some of you that was saying we don't know what diseases that may or may not be brought here. It was some of you that were saying you were concerned about criminals being years, that they can't account for trillions of
Okay. Trying to get to the meat.
Dollars. This is the money, the fiat money that your government is spending, but they tell you they can't give you reparations. Then we turn around and tell you that we're going to fund Nazi Ukrainians billions of dollars to proxy war against Russia. Talk black to me, somebody. Now, before I get into the details of some of this, to remind you all of some of the consistent coverage that I have been doing on this, I want to give you the juice, the tea. Now, the good thing about being alternative media, and I started this broadcast telling you that I met some of you on the ground. A lot of you rock with me because you've been seeing my content over the years, and you all know that I actually care about foundational Black Americans. Yes? Well, one of the things that I know is that before I met some of you all, I was having these discussions, of course, exposing how the Democrat Party, in particular, the United States government, was prioritizing and giving actual tangibles, housing, food, clothing, and setting up jobs and so forth for illegal immigrants. Yes? Well, I did a broadcast last Wednesday, and I told you all, because some of you, I was like, well, Vicky, you said you was going to do a part 2, but there was some scheduling changes, family, so I'm doing it today. So the first one I talked to you all about, remember I told you my source, one of my sources on directly in Chicago, beloved. We got the news here before it started to take a hold in mainstream media about the ICE raids, but how some of the illegal immigrants were selling their cars and trucks that they often use for like Uber and DoorDash to get on out of here because they were concerned about the pending ICE agency agents coming to knock on doors. Yes. So, family, part 2 of that is that among other information that I was told from one of my direct sources there. Yes, beloved, are y'all ready for this? In addition to the information, this was one of the part 2s that I want to do. Of course, there's so much I could talk about. Yes, but family, one of my people told me on the ground, and this has been happening apparently to several of the foundational Black American brothers there. This is specific to foundational Black men in Chicago. Why? Because you have to have have American citizenship for this to work. Do you all know that my sources on the ground reported to me that they are receiving $15,000 offers, and some of the brothers unfortunately may have been taken. I ain't trying to put nobody business in the streets. I'm trying to be real general right now. But y'all know we got the direct T. And of course, we were accurate about a lot of the stuff that we're saying because we've seen a lot of this play out in mainstream media, confirming what I was already telling you. Watch this, but I knew it. I told you all as soon as I knew it when I came back on. Watch. Some of the Ukrainian women, some of the girls in Chicago are giving the brothers upwards of $15,000 so they can hurry up and get emergency licenses, y'all. Y'all hear what I said? Did y'all hear what I said? Y'all, my reports on the ground. Yes, y'all know they're gonna give me the tea for real, for real, for real. Y'all know they're gonna give me the real tea for real, for real, for real. In the neighborhoods where this is happening. Family, they said that the white Ukrainian women are giving foundational Black brothers and asking for them to marry them and to pay them so they can hurry up and get citizenship real quick. Family, now, for those of you that don't know, and for those of you that have not been keeping up for the past several years, I'm putting up my article right now. Family, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, share. I don't know if notifications went out or not. Y'all know how it is with some of my broadcasts anyway. Sometimes the notifications do or don't go out. And then sometimes, of course, there's difficulty with folks finding it. So be sure to share, okay? Okay. To you from now. Are y'all listening? Speak to you now directly from our government's website. Now, this one that I'm reading from now, y'all ready? And the reason why first of all, let me tell you this. I did previous broadcasts a long time ago.
Unlock incredible deals and explore them.
Any comments on that? What you think? Anybody heard anything about that?
Shalom, they were doing that ever since 2023, trying to get the Black males to be involved with them so they can stay in the United States. And also that when they were all coming over, leaving their husbands or leaving and bringing the children in, the women just over, they were saying that it's best to do that, to get with them. So, I don't know. That was in 2023.
Okay. Anybody else heard anything on that? Got any comments?
Brother Leonard, I have a question about it. On what you think the significance is, excuse me, them asking us Hebrew men versus, them trying to ask a Gentile or something like that.
Well, I think they know that the European man, Anglo-Saxon, ain't gonna do it.
Okay. We gonna take the money.
Yeah, they're gonna take the money. But the European, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what they're looking at. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Yeah. So with that being said, we're gonna go into our Q&A. Anybody have any questions or comments about anything? Or they heard on this channel, or Sunday night or whatever they want to talk about. Chop it up.
Shalom, brother Leonard. I seen in Benin over in Africa that Benin seized like 100 military vehicles that were supposed to be delivered to Niger, I think. And apparently Benin has been like I guess like siding with the West, like kind of help throw off the Sahel region. Like they from what I seen, some videos of like Benin and Nigeria are helping to destabilize Niger, is basically what I've been seeing.
Okay, ain't that something?
Yes, sir.
Because you know who Benin is, right?
Them is Israelites, ain't they?
Yeah, Benjamin.
Okay.
Help
So I got a question too, Brother Leonard, about the Great Wall of Benin. Have you ever heard of that? I've been meaning to ask about it.
the Great Wall of Benin.
Yes, sir. They said I seen some videos said it was the greatest man-made wall. And they said it's bigger than the wall. It was bigger than the wall of China. Now I was like wondering if that area was maybe some part of Israel or something.
I think I heard a little bit about that, and I'm thinking that it's tied to, when the transatlantic slave trade, Benin was one of the main locations they was getting a lot of the Gold Coast. It was
Right.
Benin, this place called Wahuda, which was Judah, and there was another place. They was getting all their slaves right there, and the wall, I think they ended up when they was trying to blockade themselves, always getting abducted by those enslavers. And I think that's the reasoning behind that wall.
Oh, for protection.
Yeah, they built that back when they was getting so many especially the men, because they said that the men from Benin, and then I'm trying to think of the other nation, Mandingos. That's the one. They got big money over here in America for those Mandingos, and those Mandingos was tied to Benin and Yahuda, and it's another country. I can't. It's not coming to my remembrance, but it was getting those. That's what they was getting the so-called. Oh, you ever seen the movie Mandingo?
No, sir. I had to find it.
Yeah, check that out. Ken Norton. They played. Ken Norton was, the boxer Ken Norton.
Yes, sir. I know of him.
Yeah, he played Mandingo in that movie. That's how they was look. They was stout and big shoulders and all that. They was using them. They used those, and then they would just give, if they could, they'll just get one, and then they would breed him with all the rest of with all the women once they get him to the plantation.
Okay, right. Yes, sir. Yeah, I know about that.
Right. So that was what they would go with in the movie. This guy, he was way in up in the plains, up in that region of Nevada, and up in that region, they would go all the way by wagon all the way to New Orleans to the slave auction to get looking for a Mandingo, even the that was tied to the Mandingo. They said that was supposedly the best stop. I think it's Yoruba. Is that what's that? Those Mandingos tied to, and so they was terrorizing that place so much. That's when they built that wall, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. Anybody else got anything? Okay. Yeah. So with that being said, I'm gonna play this right here, and then we go into the lesson. Let me get this.
fired President Joe Biden's National Labor Relations Board Chair, Gwen Wilcox, and General Counsel of the Labor
I don't know if
Board.
anybody heard anything about this, but this straight up Project 2025.
Or Jennifer Abruzzo, signaling that the Trump administration will fall more in line with employers' interests than workers. It is illegal for a president to remove a board member unless there is evidence of negligence of duty. Wilcox, whose term expires in 2028, said she's going to fight back against Trump's firing. Wilcox said in a statement, quote, "I believe I should still be able to be a board member and contribute to this country." Known as good cause tenure protection, the precedent has been affirmed by the Supreme Court for almost 100 years. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals agreed that Congress will protect leaders of agencies such as the NLRB.
Like I said, if you look at this, you can see he's picking up from the game that he had to show you're fired.
Fired without just cause. The NLRB primarily rules on labor regulations and on appeals centered on complaints of unfair labor practice cases. By terminating Wilcox, the watchdog group lacks the three-person quorum necessary to rule on decisions. Sharon Block, a former labor board member, suggested the firings from Trump indicate that unions are no longer protected. Trump's firing of both pro-labor Abruzzo and Wilcox is rumored to entice Amazon and SpaceX to turn to the Supreme Court to challenge the constitutionality of the NLRB.
So, like I said before, I mean, if you can't see it, you can see. You can see what this is all about. They're attacking us. They're trying to set us back. Okay, but everything they do, most of these executive orders is set us back. Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna deal with this for a minute. So it says America is Mystery Babylon, spoken about in the scriptures. I guess that's what it say. Anyone agree? No, I don't agree. Mystery Babylon is not America. Okay. So with that being said, we're gonna move on to the topic. Like I said, it was inside the class, which is it's 3 types of giants. I know we got videos all over the place about these giants, but when I get a revelation and the Most High Lord host deal with me on it, then I put it on video. Okay, so this is 3 types of giants, right? I'm gonna play this video, and then we're gonna, after we get through with the video, we're gonna go in and break it down, and we're gonna kind of be bouncing off of a lot of information we already have, but you tie your shoes up. So anyway, let's go. Okay. So the name of this video is, you're probably gonna want to watch it, the 3 types of giants that terrified humans in the days of Enoch. Okay.
Religious texts, where angels consorted with mortals and divine judgments reshaped the world, 3 groups stand out as enigma: the giants, the Nephilim, and the Eljo, also known as the Iliad. These antediluvian figures, mentioned in the book of Enoch and the book of Jude.
So you got 3 types of giants. You got the giants, right? Then Nephilim, right? Nephilim. Then you got I had been saying the word wrong. It's Eljo, right? But I was trying to find it. I told you I had been trying to find, read some stuff maybe like 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago, and I saw where we see that those giants and those Nephilim eventually started interbreeding with animals. They say they sinned against animals. We're gonna go and look at all that in a minute, but they sinned against animals, and then so you got wickedness going from wickedness getting worse and worse. So the giants, the first phase of the giants, when the angels came down, slept with the women, you got those giants, huge ones that everybody was talking about, and then from them, those giants start sleeping with women and with other giant women, and you got the Nephilim, right? So the original giants came from the fallen angels, but those angels at one time, they was in heaven dealing with righteousness. But their sons, these other giants, they have no recollection of what righteousness is. They straight wicked as hell. They worse than the wickedness that their fathers did when they left their habitation. Then them giants slept with animals, women of the giants, and with different animals. They say when it says the Bible says, when the book of Enoch says they sinned against birds and animals. So that's how you get the Ejo, the Eljo, I mean. And they wickeder than them. See? So those are the three levels. The next every generation that comes to get wickeder and wickeder. Keep that in mind.
Jubilees represent a hybrid race born in a lineage and shrouded in intrigue. This is their story. Long ago, when the earth was still young, and its lands were vast and untamed, the world teemed with beings unlike any known today. These were the days when Enoch, a man of unparalleled righteousness, walked with God. But the earth was also filled with other creations, some of which bore the mark of rebellion. The Watchers, heavenly beings who descended to the earth, defied the laws of heaven and took human wives for themselves. From their union came the Nephilim, mighty and fearsome giants who towered over men. Yet even among the Nephilim, divisions arose, and the order of creation turned upon itself. The giants, the most powerful offspring of the Watchers, became rulers over the Nephilim. Their strength was legendary, and their appetite for dominance knew no bounds. They stood like mountains, their voices rumbling like thunder, and wherever they walked, the earth trembled beneath them. They saw themselves as invincible, destined to rule all creation. But their arrogance birthed strife. The Nephilim, though smaller, were cunning and numerous. They resented the tyranny of the giants, who claimed the best of the land and enslaved them to build colossal monuments to their glory. Discontent turned to rebellion, and the Nephilim rose against their oppressors.
Yeah, so I'm going to interject right here before I forget it. So remember what he just said. The arrogance and all that is what got them in trouble. And they were violent. But those giants, because of their size and all that, they was taking land. It was all about land. So when you go to how Abraham ended up in Mesopotamia, right? It was about land. Canaan was given land by Noah. He was on his way to his land, saw the land of Canaan, right? And took his brother's land. Okay, remember that. That's what the Nephilim and all them was all about. Remember Deuteronomy chapter 2? Most High was telling the Israelites when they came when they came to their brother in Esau and the Horites is there. He said, don't meddle with their land, and that's what it's all about. You know, when listen to it from the Christian perspective, you wouldn't decipher and get all this because they so busy trying to give you that idol, JC. Okay, but let's check it out.
In the great forests and valleys, battles raged. The Nephilim, with their clever strategies, outweighed the giants. They ambushed them in narrow passes and struck them down with weapons forged from iron and bronze. The giants, despite their size and strength, were not invulnerable. One, they fell, their massive bodies shaking the ground as they crashed to earth. The victory of the Nephilim over the giants did not bring peace. Among their ranks were the Eljo, a smaller but highly intelligent faction descended from the Nephilim. The Eljo possessed a deep knowledge of the earth and the secrets of the heavens, passed down from the Watchers. They were artisans and inventors, creating weapons and tools far beyond the understanding of others. The Eljo, seeing themselves as the right...
So this is where the weapons came from. I'm going to show you how they chop this all up, switch it up. But the Ejo, they're the ones that they was highly more intelligent. They're third generation from the Watchers. So they the ones started dealing with the weapons and all these megalithic cities you see. They the ones with they was highly intelligent, and then they made the weapons in order to deal with those giants, the huge ones I told you about. The very first ones when the 200 angels came down. So they created the weapons. They're the ones they got the mail and all that on. When you go to a prime example is Jack the Giant Killer. Remember when Jack went up on the beanstalk? He got up there, them giants up there, they had on mail, had on all this stuff to deal with war. They the ones introduced all that to the mankind. Cain's descendants. Okay.
Rightful rulers turned against the Nephilim. Their knowledge became their weapon, and they used it to strike swiftly and decisively. They poisoned water sources and crafted traps that no Nephilim could escape. They waged a war of attrition, and the Nephilim, despite their numbers, began to dwindle. The Nephilim fought back with all their might, but the Eljo's intellect proved too great an advantage. The Nephilim's once proud armies were scattered, their leaders slain, and their strongholds reduced to ruins. The Eljo claimed victory, but their triumph was short-lived. When defeated, the Eljo turned their attention to humans. Humans, in those days, lived in simple villages, unaware of the chaos that had.
So this was powers that be took away from us right here. This is the missing link to the scriptures. This Eljo, because he says once they got rid of the Nephilim, then they turned toward against us. This chapter in history they took out these Eljos. Like I said, they got angelic DNA in them, human DNA, and animals, because those giants started and the Nephilim started intermingling with animals, violating animals, and they start getting different breeds of whatever you want to call it from that. Like, by example, what David was dealing with. He said that David had 2 men that was with him that was lion-like. They had lion characteristics. So that's Nephilim. That's the missing link between, they just generalize and say giants, but it's way deeper than that. But let's keep going.
Unfolded among the giants and their kin. The Eljos saw humans as weak and unworthy of the earth's bounty. They sought to dominate them, believing that their superior.
I was telling you about that. They hate these Eljos hated humans. They tried to derail them.
Their intellect gave them the right to rule. At first, the humans resisted. Though smaller and less powerful, they were determined and resourceful. They banded together, learning from the Eljo's own inventions and turning them into weapons of their own.
See that?
The humans fought fiercely, their courage fueled by the desire to protect their families and their land. The Eljo underestimated the humans' resilience. Despite their cleverness, they could not match the sheer will of humanity. The humans, driven by the memory of what had been lost, rose up against their oppressors. They used fire and cunning, laying traps and striking in the dead of night. Slowly, the Eljo were driven back, their numbers diminishing until they were no longer a threat. Amid this chaos, Enoch continued to walk with God. He was a man of wisdom and compassion, known for his unwavering faith. Though he was human, he stood as a beacon of light in a world darkened by conflict. Enoch had seen the rise and fall of the giants, the Nephilim, and the Eljo. He had spoken with the Watchers, pleading with them to turn from their rebellion and seek forgiveness. Some listened and wept, but most turned away, their pride too great to overcome. One day, as Enoch meditated in a quiet valley, a delegation of humans approached him. They told him of their plight, of the wars that had ravaged the earth, and of their fears for the future. Enoch listened carefully, his heart heavy with sorrow. He knew that the violence and strife were the result of the Watchers' disobedience.
So this is what I was talking about the other day, this right here. This is why the Creator told them not to intermingle, because of this, the violence. See, all this was when you read the scriptures, you don't know all this. This is a whole different DNA that when the fallen angels came and mingled with those women and got these beings here, it's a different DNA. So he doesn't want Israelites mingling with these folks because of the DNA. And it's violent and it's warlike. So we saw that wars was going on between when the Watchers came down and slept and got the giants. The giants was violent against fathers, and then the Nephilim started fighting against the original first set of giants and got rid of them, and then the Nephilim started, the Egyptians start fighting with the Nephilim and start getting rid of them. So it's war after war. Like, so he said that nobody was operating the way that he had created his creation because of what those fallen angels had done. That DNA that they had introduced to the earth. That's what he's telling the Israelites not to deal with.
He also knew that humanity had a choice to make, to follow the path of the fallen or to seek the ways of righteousness.
Yeah.
In his wisdom, Enoch began to teach.
That's where Melchizedek come in. A title. A man, he's a king of righteousness. Enoch is king of righteousness at this time. And then it's passed on. When Enoch was taken and went away, his son took over after him. And then again, we get to him and the Melchizedek was Shem.
The humans. He shared with them the knowledge of the heavens, the laws of creation, and the importance of justice and mercy. He warned them of the consequences of pride and rebellion, urging them to walk in harmony with each other and with God.
Watch what eggs do to your brain.
Any comments so far?
Shalom. He's talking to all three of them right now. The Watchers, the Nephilims, or the Eljos. He's talking to, who is he speaking with? He's speaking to those.
He's speaking to anybody that would listen to him out of those lineages, out of those. A lot of them didn't have nothing to do with humans. They hated humans, but especially Adam's descendants. So it was some that listened and some that didn't. But so we see, like I was saying, it didn't just start with. We see that David had 33 giants around him. The Lord host is using those giants to protect David because everybody in their mama was trying to kill him. But before that, the 200 men that Abraham had with him when he rescued Lot was giants. They've been had a relationship with these giants. And Adam's descendants are the rulers of the planet. Contrary to how powerful and how malevolent these giants was, they still were subject to Adam and his descendants. Okay? That's why it says the righteous race. Everybody didn't come from the Creator and from heaven.
Past, the conflicts among the giants, Nephilim, Eljo, and humans began to fade. But the scars of those battles remained, etched into the land and into the hearts of those who had survived. Enoch, now an old man, continued to pray and to seek the will of God.
From all of them.
One night, as he stood on a mountain overlooking the vast earth, Enoch received a vision. He saw a great flood that would cleanse the world of its corruption.
This is the purpose of the flood.
He saw the watchers bound in chains and cast into darkness. He saw the giants, the Nephilim, and the Eljos swept away, their power broken forever. Enoch wept, not for the judgment, but for the lost potential of those who had turned away from the Creator. He knew that the flood was necessary, a divine act to restore balance to the earth. Before he was taken from the earth, Enoch shared his vision with those who would listen. He urged humanity to prepare, repent, and to seek God with all their hearts. Some heeded his words, while others scoffed, their hearts hardened by pride.
Like I say.
And then, one day, Enoch was no longer seen among men. It was said that God had taken him, for he had walked so close to the Creator that he was no longer bound by the earth. To understand the Eliaud as they are also known, one must first revisit the story of their progenitors, the Nephilim. According to the book of Enoch, the Nephilim.
So a lot of these Eljos, they had wings too. Because remember, a lot of their origins was those giants, birds, and all that too. They what you call laid with animals, lions, and bears, and all that. They laid with birds and all that. So a lot of these Ejo got wings.
Nephilim were the Watchers, a group of rebellious angels who descended to earth and took human women as wives. This union produced beings of immense stature, renowned for extraordinary abilities, but infamous for their insatiable greed and unrelenting violence. The Nephilim's exploits and transgressions became so pervasive that they played a significant role in provoking the Great Flood, a divine reset intended to cleanse the earth of their corruption. However, the story does not end with the Nephilim. The Eliot emerged as their descendants, a second generation of hybrids whose existence founded the divine defiant.
So Eliot, which is Eloiud. Same thing as that's where I was missing information there because I was looking for, first of all, I was spelling it EJO, but it's Eljo, ELJO. And the Eliot and the Eljo is the same being. And these are the ones that was taken out of the powers that be, took them out of the equation.
It's initiated by the Watchers. While the Nephilim were giants, both literally and metaphorically, the Eliot inherited and amplified their forebears' traits, embodying both celestial magnificence and human frailty. The Book of Jubilees refers to
they got fire red hair, with Harry all over red hair. That's how they look.
Eliot as part angel hybrids, a distinct group separate from both humans and Nephilim ancestors. Their lineage endowed them with supernatural abilities that set them apart. They possessed physical prowess and intellectual capacities that far exceeded those of ordinary humans, making them formidable in both combat and strategy. Legends describe the Eliot as warriors, rulers, and architects of civilizations.
Architects. That's where all the megalithic cities, pyramids, all that coming from them. And they took them out of the equation.
Their exploits leaving an indelible mark on the ancient world. But with great power came great corruption. The Eliot, like the Nephilim, were consumed by their desires. Their ambition knew no bounds, and their actions disrupted the delicate balance of creation. Their wickedness was not merely an extension of their Nephilim heritage. It was a manifestation of their unique hybrid nature. As being between heaven and earth, they grappled with an identity crisis that often led to destructive behavior. What set the Eliot apart from their Nephilim ancestors was not just their hybrid nature, but the scale of their transgressions. The Nephilim were giants who dominated through physical strength. The Eliot combined their inherited might with cunning intellect and strategic acumen.
So this is the golden nugget. So when you understand what actually happened, that I keep on screaming over and over again about in 143 BC, that's when the Israelites ran out. That's when Daniel chapter 9, the prince that shall come, Antiochus came. That's when the Israelites ran out. Esau, he read and Harry all over. This is where Esau ascended from. So Esau came into the land. Obadiah tells you he stole the land of Israel. He posing as the Israelites. That's who in the land in so-called 70 AD and all that. Him. And that's why Rome eventually had to backfill it and cover it over because they had this wicked ass zeal like that came from these Ejos. That's who they descended from. And Rome couldn't control them. So they eventually had to, like when in 70 AD, Titus and Vespasian sent them to Spain. And then eventually they renamed the land. That's why we can't find it now, supposedly. But the land now, and then Hadrian came and backfilled it and covered up the land because he didn't want nobody there no more. Because these wicked ass Edomites that came in there with this wicked ass zeal, unnatural zeal. And they couldn't contain them. They caused all kind of problems for the Roman Empire. Israel was on the west coast of Africa. Okay, these same people concocted JC in the New Testament that these Negroes throwed off on.
Them even more dangerous, as they could manipulate, deceive, and dominate in ways that surpassed their progenitors. Ancient accounts suggest that the Eliot played a significant role in the corruption of humanity. Their influence extended to all aspects of life, from governance and warfare to art and religion. They were the architects of systems designed to consolidate power and perpetuate their dominance, often at the expense of ordinary humans. Their actions contributed to a moral decay so profound that it necessitated divine intervention in the form of the Great Flood. The narrative of the Great Flood, as described in the book of Enoch and echoed in the book of Genesis, serves as a climactic resolution to the chaos wrought by the Nephilim and the Eliad. The flood was not merely a punishment for humanity's sins, but a targeted act of cleansing aimed at eradicating the hybrid offspring and restoring balance to creation.
So this, when you understand this, and it ain't for everybody to understand, you know what I mean? So when you understand this and understand that this is the missing link. So when you go to the book of Enoch, go to the book of Adam and Eve, and we're gonna go there in a minute later on, but I want everybody should be familiar with this. When Jared, by the time you get to Jared, which is Enoch's father, they was up on this plateau living separate from these people right here, these beings, and from Cain's descendants, because Cain came from the serpent. He ain't had nothing. He's not Noah's. He's not Adam's son. So anyway, these are beings. These are people right here. It tells you in the book of Enoch how they are, or how they conducted themselves and how they acted, and then we seen how they tricked Jared, Adam's descendants during the time of Jared off of the mountain. Was they came up out the water. That's these Ejos. They got wings. They came up out the water and came up and talked to Jared, and then Jared said, "Where y'all come from?" And they said, "We came up out of the water. We come from a different world from this world." And they bullshitted Jared and his children off the top of the mountain. But the thing is, the flood ain't stopped them. That's where they came from. That's the missing link. They came up out the water. When the Nephilim and those some of those giants, some of those angelic beings, they violated animals on land and in the water. So they got all these different characteristics. They got characteristics from the divine characteristics, from the watchers. They got characteristics from the giants. And then they got this unnatural intellect. Then they got characteristics, animal characteristics, animals. This is the missing link. They don't want you to know about. Okay. Any comments so far? Okay. So we're gonna go into the book of Enoch and make it plain. Okay, let me get it. Okay, here we go. So, like I said, you read it, but when you get the revelation on certain things, then the scripture just open up, right? So, I mean, we read this all the time too. So, I'm in Enoch. If you want to follow along, I'm in the book of Enoch, and I'm in chapter 7. Okay, so here we go. Let me see.
Shalom, that's the first book of Enoch, sir. Excuse me.
Yeah, chapter 7.
Thank you.
Okay, so chapter 7. Let me get this right quick. I got to get this golden nugget out, right? So it says, prove that Cain is from Satan. If you don't know that, come on, bro. You don't know that in 2025. Come on. Okay. I'm in Enoch chapter 7, verse 1. And all the other together, so we're going to, based on this information I just broke down with who the Eliad is, Eljo, we're going to tie this in to make it so it makes sense, right? So it says, chapter 7 says, and all together with them took, well, I'm going to start back over, I started verse 6, chapter 6, verse 1 says, and it came to pass, this bouncing off of Genesis chapter 6, verse 1. It says, and it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. That's I told you, Canaan ended up crossing over and mixing in the Adam's lineage. You got the that's the Tubal-Cain, Jubal, Jabal, they mixed. And then you got Naaman. Then and it tells you in the book of Jasher, those women, everybody in the world, that's who Troy and the Spartans got in the fight over with. Helena was a daughter of Cain. Okay, I mean from Tubal, the daughter of Tubal. Anyway, so it says, and it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters, right? Fair, right? Verse 2, and the angels, this is the watchers, the angels, the children of heaven, that's the watchers, saw and lusted after them and said one to another, come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men and beget us children. So in a minute, I'm gonna show you the difference in these children of men than Adam's descendants. So right here, these children of men is not Adam's descendants, right? But I'm gonna show you that in a minute. So 3, and then here we go, verse 3. Semjaza, who was their leader. What leader? Over the 200. He's the leader over all 200 that came down. So it says, Semjaza was their leader, said unto them, the 200, I fear ye will indeed agree to do this deed. What deed? To sin, to violate women. That's what the sin was. So when it says they sinned against birds and other animals and all that, same thing. The sin is penetration, right? So it says 3, and Simchaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear that ye will not indeed agree to do this deed. That's to violate the women, right? And I alone shall have to pay the penalty of this great sin. And they all answered him and said, let us all swear an oath. See that? And all bind ourselves by mutual implications. None of this plan. And the plan is to go down and sleep with women, choose them a woman. But to do this thing, then swear they all together and bound themselves by mutual implication upon thee. Here we go, 6. And they were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared. There go Jared, I told you about. Jared, that's Enoch's daddy. So this is when they came down during the time of Jared. Enoch's daddy on the summit of Mount Hermon, and they called it Mount Hermon because they swore and bound themselves by mutual implication upon it. Now here go where the meat come in at. And these are the names. So they telling you their names. These are the names of their leaders. So we know that Semjaza is the leader of all 200 of them, but then you got other leaders in there because each leader got 10 angels under him. So it's 200 in all. So you got about 10 to 15 leaders that's under Semjaza, but they over other angels, right? So it says, these are the names of their leaders. Then list of names, I can't say them. I'll say some of them. Isquiel, Berkogel, Azrael, Amaral, and all that. Okay, these are the chiefs. See that? Chiefs of the 10. So each chief got 10 angels under him. Okay, now we in 37. Now we in chapter 7. And all the others together with them, that's all 200, took unto them wives. Now check it out. And each chose him one. Okay. And they begin to go in. See that? This is the scene. They begin to go in unto them and defile themselves. It's wicked. It's hell. So once they went into them, they couldn't sin no more into heaven. Right? They lost that ability to sin. So in verse 2, and they taught. So let's check, this is where the drama come in at. Verse 2, and they taught them charms, enchantments, and cutting of roots. So who is them? In verse 2, the women, not no men. And they taught them, the women, the wives they chose. They taught them charms, enchantments, and the cutting of roots. And they made them acquainted with herbs, right? So remember what the man said on the video. Everything that the Most High had, what his original purpose for was for, it got tainted. So we know herbs are good, but these people, they didn't give them some other wicked take on how to deal with herbs. So anyway, 3, and they became pregnant, and they bore giants. That's what the man. That's the first. This the first descendants of wickedness, right? Right here. They bore great giants, whose heights were 3,000 ells, and who consumed all the acquisitions of men, right? And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. Now here you go. And then these giants, they began to sin. What sin? Penetration. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and they began to sin against birds, beasts, reptiles, fish, and to devour one another's flesh and to drink blood. See that? So we already see what is. I mean, we see things in today, and but we can't correlate them. So we see how these people, they'll take a steak and put it on the stove, and they'll turn it over 2 times and then eat it raw, the blood out of it. They ain't doing it on accident. This where they come from right here, telling you who they are. So it says, then the earth laid acquisition against the lawless ones. So you want to know who the woman is? You got a woman right here. The earth is the woman. It says, then the earth, the woman, laid acquisitions against the lawless ones. That's these wicked ass DNA that's on the planet. The Most High's wife got a problem with it, and she crying out to him. So now let's pick it up in verse 8. And Aziel, now here go where the men I told you about. So up here in verse 7, it says in verse 7 and 2, these 200 came down and taught them. That's the women. But when you get down there in chapter 8, verse 1, Aziel taught men make sword. I told you that was. That's the Ejo, the Eljo, right here. And Aziel taught men to make swords, knives, shields, breastplates, and made it known to them for metals of the earth and the art of working them. See that? And the bracelets. So if they didn't hook us on, got you just think, no, they don't give you no format. That it's different types of giants, and they coming from like the Most High always talking about generation. Every time the next generation come, they get wickeder and wickeder because of that fallen angels. They came from heaven. It was righteous. They came from a righteous beginning. But these giants didn't come from the righteous beginning. And then when you get to the Nephilim, they don't have no righteous beginning. They 2 generations removed from righteousness. Then you get to the Ejo, they straight wicked as hell. We looking at that play out amongst us today. So anyway, so it says, Aziel taught men to make swords and knives, breastplates, and they made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of autonomy, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones and colorings and temperatures, right? Verse 2, and there arose much godliness. See that? Because of this. There arose much godliness, and they committed fornication. So if you want to know what the sin is, they telling you, don't take my word for it. And many were led astray because became corrupt in all their ways. Some jars that taught enchantments and cutting the roots, aroma, resolving of enchantments, Barquire, I ain't pronouncing these names, but taught astrology, about constellations, equal knowledge of the clouds. That's because they came from up there. They know all this. Urquell, the signs of the earth, Shemazal, the signs of the sun, and Sherekel, the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and their cries went up to heaven. Okay, now we're in chapter 9. And then, because all this, Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven. Not Jesus, not Yahweh. Michael, Uriel, and Raphael looked down, and Gabriel looked down from heaven. saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all lawlessness being wrought upon the earth. So the question was just asked that prove that Cain is not is Satan's son. What did he do? He killed Abel and put his brother, stuck his brother in the ground and the blood. See that? This is what the Most High dealing with, the blood. So it says, chapter 9, then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all lawlessness being wrought in the earth. And they said one to another, the earth made without inhabitants cries, the voice of their cry out unto the gates of heaven. And now to you, O holy ones of heaven. These holy ones are the, if you want to know, if you want to learn anything, is Genesis 1:26. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. Let us, this is who the us is, not the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. So it says, and they said one to another, the earth made without inhabitants cries. The voice of their cry cometh up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their suit, saying, bring our cause before the Most High. And they said to the Lord of the ages, Lord of lords, God of God, King of kings, and God of the ages, the throne standeth unto all generations of the ages, and thy name holy and glorious and blessed unto all ages. Thou hast made all things, and the power over all things hast thou. And all things are naked and open in thy sight, and thou seest all things, and nothing can be hid, nothing can hide itself from thee. Thou seest what Azazel have done, who have taught all unrighteousness on the earth. So the eternal secrets which were not kept in heaven, which were kept in heaven, which men were striving to learn, and some Jaza whom thou hast given authority to bear rule over his associates, and thou have gone to the daughters of men upon the earth, and have slept with the women, and have defiled themselves, and revealed to them all kinds of sins. And the women have borne giants. That's the first abomination, first race, generation right there. And the whole earth has thereby became filled with blood and unrighteousness. And now behold, the souls of those who have died are crying and making their suit to the gates of heaven, and their lamentations have ascended and cannot cease because of lawless deeds which are wrought on the earth. And thou knowest all these things before they come to pass, and thou seest these things, and thou doest suffer them, and thou doest not say to us, here go to us right here, let us make man. Here they are right here. And thou, though thou say, and thou doest not say to us what we are to do to them in regard to these. This chapter 10. Then said the Most High, the Holy Great One, and one spake and said to Uriel, sent Uriel to the son of Lamech, and said unto him. So let's break this down right here for these Hebrew Christians, right? Verse 1 says, thus said the Most High, this is Yahweh, thus said the Most High, the Holy One, the Holy Great One, spake, and then here you go. He sent Uriel to the son of Lamech and said to him. So here we go. So all through the scriptures, we got Jeremiah, we got Ezekiel, we got Obadiah. So when it says the word of the Lord came under Ezekiel, right here. See that? The Most High sent Uriel to the son of Lamech. See that? To the son. So the word that's being carried is the angel carrying the word. Ain't no son the word. This angel right here. And whomever he sent, whichever one of these 7 angels he sent it to a certain person at a particular time. So if you're in the book of Ezekiel, he sent the angel to Ezekiel. And the angel went from the presence of the Most High to Ezekiel. The word of the Lord came unto Ezekiel. It don't have nothing to do with no New Testament. Okay? So anyway, in verse 3, and now instruct him. See that? And now instruct him that he may escape and his seed may be preserved for all generations of the world. And again, the Lord said unto Raphael, see that? He was just talking to Uriel, now he's talking to Raphael. Bind Aziel, hand and foot, and cast him into darkness, and make an opening in the desert, which is in Judea, and cast him there. Ain't no Father, Son. It's Yahweh and these 7 angels. See that? Verse 6. And on the day of the great judgment, he shall be cast into the fire and heal the earth with the angels have corrupted. So Gabriel back here, right here, Raphael got the ability to heal the earth. Bet you didn't know that. So it says, and the Lord on the day of the great judgment, he said to Raphael, cast him into Aziel into the fire and heal the earth. He ain't do it. It ain't JC. He told Raphael, after you cast him into the thing, heal the earth from what they done. And proclaim the healing of the earth, that they may heal, that they may heal the plagues, and that all the children of men may not perish through all the secret things that the watchers have destroyed and have taught their sons. And the whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Aziel. To him describe all sin. And Gabriel said, the Lord proceed against the bastards and the reprobates. See that? This right here is why he's telling us don't mingle with them. You can't excuse your way out of this. Okay? It says, and the Gabriel said to the Lord, proceed against the bastards. See that? And the reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication and the children of the watchers from among men. From amongst men. You can't go to no Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Now all of a sudden the Gentile coming in. If they're abomination right here, they're abomination forever. Because they're origins. Okay? He says, and no request that their fathers make. Oh, see that? No request that their fathers make of thee shall be granted unto thee. That killed the New Testament. Unto their fathers on their behalf, for they have lived an eternal life, and that each one of them will live 500 years. And the Lord said unto Michael, now he's talking to Michael, go bind Simjaza and his associates who have united themselves with women so as to have defiled themselves with them in all their uncleanness. And when their sons, here you go, and when their sons have slain one another, we just read that. Or we just watched it and heard it. And when their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations in the valley of the earth, until the day of their judgment and their consummation, until judgment that is forever and ever is consumed. So who doing all this? These angels. Who's going to do all that when this day comes of judgment? These angels. Not no JC, okay? 14, and whosoever shall be condemned and destroyed will from henceforth be bound together with them to the end of all generations, and destroy all the spirits of the reprobates and the children of the watchers, because they have wronged mankind. So see that right here, these reprobates, they not numbered. They ain't numbered with the humans. So how is all blood, how is somebody coming to kill, to die for everybody? You got bastards and reprobates on earth. You tally that, make that work. Okay? So it says, destroy all the evil from the face of the earth. That's evil. These reprobates, children of the watchers. See that? Destroy all the evil from the face of the earth, and let every evil work come to an end, and let the plant, see that? It's a plant of righteousness. See that? Adam vengeance and truth appear. and it shall prove a blessing. The works of righteousness and the truth shall be planted in truth and joy forevermore. And then shall all the righteous escape and shall live until they begat thousands of children, and all the days of their youth and their old age shall they complete in peace. Okay? And then shall the whole earth be covered in righteousness, and shall all be planted with trees and be full of blessings, and all desirable trees shall be planted on it, and they shall plant vines on it, and the vines which they plant thereon shall yield wine in abundance. And as for all the seeds which is sown thereon, each measure of it shall bear 1,000, and each measure of olives shall yield 10 presses of oil. So we see right here, like I said, we're going to the scriptures, the actual scriptures going in a whole different direction than what these folks they concocted when they concocted JC in the New Testament. So anyway, with I'm gonna go to Jubilees chapter 5, right? You've probably been told not to read these books, but we're in Jubilees chapter 5. So this is more information. Jubilees chapter 5. When the children of men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, the angels of God saw them on a certain year of this Jubilee, and they were beautiful, and they took themselves wives. It's just another take from the truth, right? And they took themselves wives of all whom they chose, and they gave birth to their sons, and they were giants. And because of them, lawlessness increased on the earth, and all flesh corrupted its way. All flesh corrupted its way. Men and cattle and beasts and birds and everything that walketh on the earth were all corrupted in their ways and in their orders. And they began to devour each other. Lawlessness increased on the earth, and the imagination of thoughts of all men were continuously totally evil. That take you right to the Tower of Babel, right? 3. God looked on the earth and saw it was corrupt, and all flesh had corrupted its orders, and all that were on the earth had committed all manner of evil before his eyes, right? Then it says, and he said that he would destroy man and all flesh on the face of the earth that he had created. But Noah found grace before the eyes of the Lord, and against the angels whom he had sent on the earth, he had boiling anger, and he gave commandments to root them out of all their dominion. And he commanded us, these angels talking, the us, that's in Genesis 1:26. And he commanded us to bind them in the depths of the earth and to look, and they bound, and they are bound in the middle of the earth and are kept separate. And against their sons went out a command from his mouth that they should be killed with the sword and be left under heaven, right? And he said, my spirit shall not always abide on man, for they also are flesh, and their days shall be 120 years. And he sent his sword into their presence, that each should kill his neighbor, and they began to kill each other until they all fell by the sword. We just saw all that in the video, and were destroyed from the earth. So he used these generations, one wicked ass generation from the next, would destroy the generation before it. Okay, so he says in verse 11, he destroyed all wherever they were, and there was not one left of them whom he judged according to all their wickedness. And through his works he made a new righteous nature, so that they should not sin in their whole nature forever, but should be all righteous, each in his own ways always. The judgment of all is ordained and written on the heavenly tablets in righteousness, even the judgment of all whom depart from the path that is ordained to them to walk. And they do not walk in it, judgment is written down for every creature and and for every kind. There is nothing in heaven or on the earth or in light or in darkness or in the abode or of the dead or in the deep or in the place of darkness that is not judged. and their judgments are ordained and written and engraved. And he will judge all, the great according to his greatness, and the small according to their smallness, and each according to his way. He is not one who regards the position of any person, nor he one who will receive gifts. If he says that he will execute judgment on each, if one gave everything that is on the earth, he will not regard the gifts or the person, nor accept anything in his hand, for he is a righteous judge. This is Michael, Lord of hosts, right? Of the children of Israel, it has been written and ordained, if they turn to him in righteousness, he will forgive all their transgressions and pardon all their sins. It is written and ordained that he will show many to all who turn from all their guilt once each year. So it's once each year. So let's look at in verse 18. Let's look at it, go up to 17. If one gave everything, it's way before these Gentile guys who taught scripture, concocted the New Testament in JC, the idol. It says 17, if one gave everything that is on the earth, he will not regard the gifts or the persons of any other. This is the judge, Michael, the righteous judge, nor accept at his hands, for he is a righteous judge. In 18, you say, how you know that? 18, of the children of Israel, it has been written and ordained, if they turn to him in righteousness, he will forgive all their transgressions. See that? He will forgive all their transgressions, that sin, and pardon all their sins. It is written and ordained that he will show mercy, right, to all who turn from all their gifts once a year. So who is this? Who is this that's over transgression and sin, right? Let's go to Exodus chapter 23. Right quick. We'll get back on track. I'm in Exodus 23. Okay. 23. Yahweh is up on Mount Sinai. He came down on Mount Sinai and he got these angels with him, right? And he tells Moses, Exodus 23 and 20, behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, right? And obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. That's the righteous judge. None other than Michael. First angel he created. Lord of hosts of the heaven and earth. And you want to see another example? Go to Zechariah right quick. So you'll be standing there with that New Testament in your hand, smoke coming out your ears when it's all said and done. Okay, here we go. So I'm in chapter 3. Zechariah chapter 3 says that he showed me Joshua, the high priest, standing before the angel of the Lord. This is Michael. And Satan standing at his right hand to resist him. And the Lord, the Michael, the angel of the Lord said unto Satan, the Lord rebuke thee, Satan, even the Lord that have chosen Jerusalem rebuke thee. Is this not a brand plucked out of the fire? Now Joshua was clothed with a filthy garment and before the angel of the Lord. And he answered and spake unto those that stand by. That's the other one, the us, like I said, in Genesis chapter 1 and 26. And he answered and spake to those that stood by him, saying, take the angel talking, angel of the Lord, take away the filthy garment from him. And unto him he said, behold, I have caused thine iniquity to pass from thee, and I will clothe thee with a change of raiment. So, like I said before, I'm not talking about something that I got out of a Cracker Jack box. Okay, so any comments so far? I'm gonna go give some more examples of how everybody not come from the same place. You got some wicked ass people that their origins is wickedness. There's nothing you can do that's gonna die on the cross for them. Okay, so here we go right here. Let me get it right quick. Yeah, I'm in the book of Adam and Eve. I'm in the book of, right? Like I said, you probably ain't dealing with these books, you know, and brainwashed not to deal with them. Okay, what I'm doing is okay, chapter 11. I'm showing you the nature when it says children of righteousness. Show you that's Adam's descendant. Cain descendant. Japhet ain't no children of righteousness. They come from Cain. So I'm in chapter 11 of the first book of Adam and Eve, right? And it says, let me see where I'm at. I'm gonna get it. Yeah, I'll read the whole thing, but like eight verses. I'm in chapter 11. It says, Adam and Eve then felt themselves burning with thirst and heat. Let me get it. And sorrow. And Adam said to Eve, we shall not drink of this water, even if we were to die. O Eve, when this water comes into our inner parts, it will increase our punishment and that of our descendants. Both Adam and Eve then went away from the water and drank none of it, all but came and entered the cave of treasures. But when in it Adam could not see Eve, he only heard the noise she made. Neither could she see Adam, but heard the noise of them, the noise he made. Then Adam cried in his sleep, in a deep affliction, and beat his chest. And he got up and said to Eve, where are you? And she said unto him, look, I'm standing here in this darkness. And then he said, okay, let me see if I'm in the right place. Okay, yeah, he says, and she said unto him, look, I'm standing here in the darkness. And he then said to her, remember the bright nature in which we live, and when he lived in the garden, O Eve, remember the glory that rested upon us in the garden. O Eve, remember the trees that overshadowed us in the garden while we moved among them. O Eve, remember that while we were in the garden, we knew neither night nor day. Think of the tree of life from before it flowed the water, and that shed splendor over us. Remember, O Eve, and the land of the garden, and the brightness of it. Think, and think of the garden in which there was no darkness while we lived. But no sooner did we come into this cave of treasures, than darkness surrounded us. All around us, we can no longer see each other, and all the pleasure of this life has come into an end. I think I'm in the wrong place. Let me get it. I'm tripping, man. Supposed to be in the second book. My bad. Excuse me. I'm tripping like a mother. Okay. Let me get it. Second book. Yeah. Okay. Now it makes some sense right here. Let me get it. I'm showing you the nature of Adam's descendants compared to the nature of Cain and these other people. Well, so I'm in second book of Adam, chapter 11. It says, after the death of Adam and Eve, self-separated. Here you go. You want to know if Cain is Adam's son. It says, after the death of Adam and Eve, self-separated his children and his children from Cain's children. Cain and his seed went down and lived to the west, below the place where he had killed his brother. See that? Killed his brother, right? But Seth and his children lived to the north, on the mountain of the cave of treasures, in order to be near their father Adam. And Seth, the oldest of his people, and good, with a worthy soul and a strong mind, stood at the head of his people and tended them in innocence. Check it out. This their nature. And he tended to them in innocence, patience, meekness, and did not allow even one of them to go down to Cain's children. So we know what Cain wicked as hell, just like these giants. His origins, right? So we see right here it tells you that Cain descendants, Seth descendants are innocent, patient, they have meekness, and they do not allow even one of them to go down to the children of Cain. Here we go. They're going to further give you their characteristics, their DNA. And because of their purity, they were named, here we go. Because of their purity, they were named the children of God. So that's the difference in Genesis chapter 6, when the angels came down and they slept with the children of men. That's Cain descendants. But Adam descendants is because of their purity, they were named the children of God. And they were with God instead of the host of angels who failed. For they continue check it out. They continued in praises to God and in singing songs to him in the cave of treasure. Then Seth stood before the body of his father Adam and of his mother Eve, and he prayed, check it out, night and day, and asked for mercy for himself and for his children. And that when he had some difficulty dealing with God, God would give him counsel. But Seth and his children did not like, check it out, Seth and his children did not like mundane work, but set themselves to do heavenly things, because they had no other thought other than praises, worship, and the Psalms of God. Now you want to know why David wrote so many Psalms. But this their characteristics. But the Seth and his children did not like mundane work, but set themselves to do heavenly things, because they had no other thought other than praises, worship, and the Psalms of God. Therefore did they at all times hear the voices of angels praising and glorifying God for within the garden, or when they were sent to God, by God on an errand, or when they are going up to heaven. Because of their own purity, Seth and his children heard and saw the angels. The garden was not far above them, only about 15 cubits, right? 15 spiritual cubits. 1 cubit is equal to 3 cubits of man, altogether 40 cubits, right? Seth and his children lived on the mountain before the garden. They did not sow nor reap. They made no food for the body, not even the wheat, but only enough for offerings. They ate the flavorful fruit of the trees that grew on the mountain where they lived. Seth often fasted 40 days and did also his oldest children. The family of Seth smelled of the trees of the garden when the wind blew their way. They were happy, innocent, without sudden fear. There was no jealousy, no evil actions, nor hatred among them. There was no animal passion. See that? Not one among them spoke either foul words or curse. There was neither evil intention nor fraud. The men of that time never swore. But when under hard circumstances, when men must swear, they check it out. This is where the doozy come in at. You want to know if Cain is Adam's son, right? It says when they did get in the bind, check it out. When they got in the bind, they swore by the blood of Abel, the just. Come on now, you get to the New Testament now, you swearing by the blood of Jesus. But right here, it says when they got in bind, they swore by the blood of Abel the just. Okay, but every day they compel their children and their women to fast and pray and to worship the Most High God in the cave. They blessed themselves by being near the body of their father Adam and anointed themselves with it. And they did so until the end of Seth drew near. Now, right, Seth died, right? So watch this. Then Seth the just. See that? Abel the just. Now we got Seth the just. Cain ain't just. because he ain't none of Adam's son. So then Seth to just call his son Enos and Canaan, and the sons of Enos and Mahaliah, the sons of Canaan, and he said he to them, my end is near, and I wish to build a roof over the altar on which gifts are offered. Then listen to his they listened to his commandments, and all of them, both old and young, went out and worked hard and built a beautiful roof over the altar. And self-thought was that by doing this, a blessing should come upon his children on the mountain. And he thought he should present an offering for them before the Lord. And then when the building of the roof was completed, he commanded them to make offerings. And they worked diligently and brought them to Seth, their father, who took them and offered them upon the altar and prayed God to accept their offerings and to have mercy on the souls of his children and to keep them from the hand of Satan. And God accepted his offering and sent his blessings to him on his children. Then God made a promise to Seth, saying, at the end of great 5 days and a half, which is the promise I have made to you and your fathers, I will send my word. See that? We already explained what the word was. And I will send my word and save you and your seed. And then Seth and his children and grandchildren met together and came down from the altar and went to the cave of treasures where they prayed, and he blessed them in the body of their father Adam and anointed them with it. Okay. So with that being said, anybody got any questions, comments about what we just talked about? Does that make any sense? Anybody
Yes,
got any
sir.
questions? Okay.
Yes, sir. It make a lot of sense. And one question I got, Brother Leonard, you saying when it says I will send my word, that's Yahweh Most High saying he gonna send the angel, right?
Right, Michael. That's his word.
Right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you see that in the first from one chapters one when the creation from 6 days. He said, make light. He talking to somebody. Then he say, make this. Then he look at it. After they do it, he look at it and examine it. And then he say it's good. He ain't schizophrenic and talking to himself. He's talking to somebody. Okay? It's him and the angel of the Lord. That Israel's Redeemer. Anybody else got anything before we go?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Yeah, you keep on preaching. Let me give it to you, bro. You keep on preaching to JC crucified. Okay. God, it's a time appointed for everything. We're gonna see if that's gonna manifest itself. Okay. Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom, shalom, and another shalom. I see everybody tomorrow for our reading through the Tanakh. Okay.
Shalom, everyone. Shalom, shalom,
shalom.
Shalom.
Okay.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Right. I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it because it's a must that you understand who God head is in the order that's in the Old Testament in Tanakh, because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up and then you begin to understand. So I highly recommend that you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel, and it's a breakdown on the word Elohim and who the God of Israel is and the Godhead.